Okay, is this working? Let's see. Wait, it's not. Wait. Hello? Okay, no, wait, where's me? Okay, here I am. Nope, it always sucks when I'm trying to, like, see myself on here, because, I want to make sure that I have, like, eye contact and everything, because, like, it's fuck. Stop moving. Why isn't it snapping? Snap! Oh boy. Bye. It's supposed to snap. I don't know why it's not. Oh, wait. It snapped. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know why it wasn't snapping before. Let's try to... Alright, so if... Okay, I guess... Yeah, I don't know why it wasn't snapping before. Okay. Wait. I just want to change the name. Concurrent viewers. Let's just say... By the way, where's the name of the, I could just edit this down to a normal video. So, welcome everybody. I hope my webcam is working today. Last time I tried doing a live streaming, like it messed me up. Wait, I just want to... Okay, just so there's no echo. Today I'm going to do a review of the SNES Engine 6 Taming the 65816 because it's because this is something that I'm really interested in because like if you go on any video game forums, you get like a lot of people like shit talking the 65816 CPU in the Super Nintendo without any understanding of how the thing works, and they're like, well, Capcom and Konami games had slowed down, and so yeah, so let's watch the video.
Taming the 65816. This video is about best practices to help you get started and to avoid the 65816's numerous traps. A word of warning to the 6502 programmer. Here is a demo I made with Desire. Heaven did most of the coding. He is a very good 6502 programmer. He made a voxel engine, 3D engine, Wolfenstein engine, etc. As seen in the demo. He is an Atari programmer and has made a lot of demos for the 8-bit range and Lynx. He suffered greatly at the hands of the SNES. My main job was finding out why this bit of perfectly working code Atari programmer and has made a lot of demos for the 8-bit range and Lynx. He suffered greatly at the hands of the SNES. My main job was he made a voxel engine, 3D engine, Wolfenstein engine, etc. As seen in the demo. He is an Atari programmer and has made a lot of demos for the 8-bit range and Lynx. He suffered greatly at the hands of the SNES. My main job was finding out why this bit of perfectly working code now crashes horribly. So if you are experienced in 6502, don't get cocky. The 65816 will handle your ass fast. You really need to stop, step back, and adjust yourself to the 65816. And not keep thinking it's like a 6502, because that is a fast trip to Pain Town. However, with a few simple tricks and discipline, you can keep it caged and under control. Naming conventions. In the days of old, the age of cardboard old, The languages were typeless: Forth, Fortran, COBOL, COMAL, Smalltalk, etc. We still have these today. For some reason, people thought types were a pain, and hence we have Python, Ruby, and JavaScript. For some reason, these new languages frown upon what I'm going to talk about.
You know what? I just want to say, like, I'm not an all I know is assembly language, so I don't really know any of this stuff. I'm actually surprised that somebody that worked with like the 6502 on like other systems wasn't able to figure out the 65816 because I mean it's compatible. I don't know why like they.
And prefer to write tests to cover everything to help. Anyway, assembly is a typelet language too. To combat this problem, name last was invented. So when you opened a record, personal database is the classic example: person, title, last name, first name, phone, and address. You don't know what anything is, so you append it to the end, and thus person record, title string, last name string, first name string, phone number, address string. Then, at Microsoft, there was a man from Hungary, and in Hungary, like many other cultures, they write their names last, then first. He came up with the idea of putting the type up front, thus rec person, stro title, stro last name, stro first name, number phone, stro address. And this became known as Hungarian notation. For example, lives byte, be lives, map x word, w map x,
Yeah.
score long.
Okay, mom. Okay. Yes. I'm doing a live streaming. Okay. Yes, it's like it's only going to take a couple minutes. Okay. Yes. Okay. I know.
L score, anim data long pointer, LP anim data. I prefer Hungarian notation, it works better with autocomplete. For example, when I do LDA open square bracket, I can then type LP, then invoke autocomplete, and now the list will be filtered to all things that are long pointers. If I don't see what I want, then it's not an LP and my code is wrong. You don't have to stick to just byte word long pointer. It is best to talk about what they are logically as well. So if animation struct, call it anim struct. Just
I'm not sure what. Uh. Yeah. I don't know what. Was he using WLA or 65? CA 65 or whatever the assembler is called. Okay, when I program, I use a program called Base or Bass. It's kind of an obscure assembler. But if you look in okay, I think in the in this code, this is literally wait, you could forget about this. This is literally all the code that I needed to set this thing up. So, yeah, I mean, if you find any of this other stuff confusing, just use bass or bass instead. I don't know how to pronounce it. Oh yeah, I think it was made by like I think it was made by BU or Bayou. Yeah, it's. I think you could find it here. I wait. Wait, do they have it on 68 on 68 1002? Huh. Wait, the one that I'm using. Oh, wait, he has a. Wait, there's a bath base for. Wait. I guess there's like different ones for like different CPUs now. Like I'll try to find base.exe like later.
Don't go nuts and end up in the LPWSTR craziness. I also extend this to functions in 65816, in that an L function, or function long, denotes that this function needs to be JSL2 and not JSR'd2. It's a very important distinction and will nail you many, many times. Autocomplete will help in this case, as you will get into the habit of typing JSLL, then invoke autocomplete, and if the function isn't there, your code is wrong. For absolute beginners, I would go as far as to say hang the 2 extra clocks and buy per core and just do everything long. And once you know how your code is used and is working, then optimize and remove long when not needed and gain the 2 clocks back. How to deal with AXY sizes. Basically, 2 methods. Global standard, i.e. A is 8 and XY is 16, and that is how it is to be. This keeps it simple. If you ever change from A8, XY16, then you restore back to the A8, XY16. This does get a little wasteful at times, but it keeps it simple, and you
Fix global standard?
The A8, XY16. This does get a little wasteful at times, but it keeps it simple, and you follow the rule and you mostly won't have any issues.
Like I personally use like everything 16 bits. Yeah, like I don't know what this is for, honestly. I don't know why
As is needed. This saves clocks and bytes, but takes a lot of upkeep. To assist, here are some best practices. Before every function, set where you think A in index should be. While it might be fine and work because the code above already sets it, you might change the code. You might insert a function between them 3 months later, and then you get a very odd bug. So be disciplined. Every function explicitly set the register sizes. But it falls through. No, set them every time. I also like to use tail end sizing, i.e. my function underscore A8XY16 for example. You could also go with lowercase a, uppercase a, and the same with XY. If using 64 tasks, the -C will enable case-sensitive label matching. So you can either type what you currently are when you call it, and then if it's wrong, you will get an assembler error telling you that my function AXY doesn't exist because it's my function AXY, and thus the assembler will catch you having the wrong size for you. Or if you have autocomplete, you can then inspect the end of the function string to see that it matches your current state. You can also do this Hungarian style if you wish, just be sure to come up with a strict order, i.e. does L
yeah, that's enable case sensitive table match. Wait, so does that mean that with what he's using, if you type in this stuff, it will
L for long call come first or after. Maybe you do long name last style. It's up to you. Registers being the wrong size is the most common issue with the 65816. There are even commercially shipped titles that have cases where it's wrong. Seventh Saga by Enix, for example. In the boot sequence even. But it just so happens the code stays on track so nobody noticed it. It doesn't always stay on track though. Sometimes it goes horribly wrong. Variable declarations. Make everything word aligned to start with, i.e. if you want a byte, make a word. Why? Because if you have 2 bytes, such as health and lives, and let's say you in some accident write to health with a 16-bit A value, and who knows what the upper 8 bits have in them, might be 0, which will just kill the player, might be 100. But now you try and work out what happened to the lives. You didn't touch the lives code, how did it break? Well, lives is fine. Health is wrong. Lives is a low access variable that trapping writes to lives would find it, but that is not always the case. So make it a word, and then put a breakpoint on read write on the upper byte. Once you run out of space, you'll have a lot of tried and tested code that you can then pack variables back together and carry on. For example, lives. You set it at the start, you deck it in one spot, maybe award one some points milestone or coins, and check that it is 0. Once all of that code is written and tested, you won't really touch it ever again. For beginners, I also recommend avoiding the 2100 to 2200 and 4200 to 4400 regions, or even just block out all of 2000 to 4FFF in both bank 7E and 7F. Then put read-write breakpoints, watch points on those regions. This will help you track times when you accidentally write to registers while in RAM, and you'll be able to trap it, and also avoid any random data trashing that would result. If you don't have the debugger open, for example. Once you're getting low on RAM, you can then allocate these areas back, as most of you
any case where you think you are writing to registers but aren't. So you are full, your code is.
your code will be written and you will have a solid grasp of best practices. Data bank. When you jump between banks, the program bank changes. The data one doesn't. This is both really handy and a pain in the ass, in that you can pass it to a function to pull data from the right bank, i.e. put player 1 animation table in one bank and player 2 in another. Same pointers all round. But it also gets very tedious to push bank, push program bank, pull bank, then restore bank. And maybe you forgot to pull and your stack gets corrupted upon return and ends up in no man's land. Not fun. But 32K is a lot of ancillary data. Small stuff. A lookup table, fast mul table, an indexed to bit table, and an indexed to bit clear table. That sort of program data tends to be small. Sure, anim data and sprite metadata and text will eat banks and banks. But the line to line, not so much. Why not make a bank to hold all of it? Let's say bank 85 holds all the data for banks 80 to 84. So now you can set the DBR to be 85. And then as you jump between your main code banks, you just don't have to worry about what the DBR is. DP is always in bank 0, so you can access any data in bank 0, 40, 80, CO from any other bank at any time. Slightly slower, as you have to index from a DP register, but it's there. Why bank 0's data is a precious resource. And now you have your bank 80 and 85 at your beck and call without needing to touch DBR. Having your data for a function in another bank and file is not ideal, but 64 tasks section can help in this matter. By having a shared databank section, you are free to open it and add to it as you please. For example, you don't even need to worry about finding it at the end of a function. You can just put it exactly where it is consumed. Helping hand. I have made a custom hack of Sour's Messen S emulator. You don't even need the is not 0, 40, 80 CO from any other bank at any time. Slightly slower, as you have to index from a DP register, but it's there. Why bank 0's eat banks and banks. But the line to line, not so much. Why not make a bank to hold all of it? Let's say bank 85 holds all the data for banks 80 to 84. So now you can set the DBR to be 85. And then as you jump between your main code banks, you just don't have to worry about what the DBR is. DP is always in bank 0, so you can access any data in bank 0, 48.
I usually try to keep all my code in the same bank, just so to kind of like how you would in an NES game, just to be so it's less confusing.
AECO from any other bank at any time. Another bank and file is not ideal, but 64tasks section can help in this matter. By having a shared databank section, you are free to open it and add to it as you please. For example, you don't even need to worry about finding it at the end of a function. You can just put it exactly where it is consumed. Helping hand. I have made a custom hack of Sour's Messen S emulator. A link to it is in the description below. This is for 64tasks. If you're using something else, it's easy enough to port your label file over. I've added label-based breakpoint support. So if you want to set a breakpoint in your code to appear in the emulator, you just do _break, all caps. You can put anything else after it if you need to have more than one in one scope. Note it looks for break, and if it finds it, it gets treated as break. Asserts. When you assume something, you assert it to be true. These days you make tests. Back then, we made asserts. I've added a few pre-builts for you. So these can be used to double check that the size of A and XY are what you think they are. And if they are not, the debugger will stop and tell you it failed. So, _assert _A8, make sure that A is in fact A.
With me, pretty, I'll be, I'll be posting an update in a couple weeks. I just got done with an online class, so I was busy. I'll probably be posting an update.
8 bits. For example, here is a case I've set up where it fails. Also introducing the was that a JSL check? _assert _bits used to double check that the size of A and XY are what you think they are. And if they are not, the debugger will stop and tell you it failed. So, _assert.
I'll type something. I thought Ozzy. Yeah, but
_A8, make sure that A is in fact 8 bits. For example, here is a case I've set up where it fails. Also introducing the was that a JSL check? underscore assert underscore JSL. This will mostly detect if a jump to a function was a long. There is also underscore assert underscore JSR to make sure that it wasn't a long. No more corrupted stack from getting it wrong. You can also do conditional